walking the path. I'm so grateful that you're here. I'm really grateful to be here myself. So today I want to talk to you about something that sounds super simple, but actually I'm seeing for myself that it's like one of the most profound doorways to freedom. And this is it. It's super simple. More than one thing can be true. That's it. More than one thing can be true. More on that later. Um, oh my goodness, I've got an alarm going off, all sorts of stuff going off today. More than one thing can be true. Do you believe that? I mean, there's like the spiritual truth. That's what we connect with at Rhythmia, right? Is the spiritual truth. There's a spiritual truth that is one truth. That's what we connect with at Agape. One spirit, one source, one power, one life, one. The omni aspect of God, omniscient, omnipotent, omniactive, omnipresent. So there's a spiritual truth that's one. And there can only be one. But in me, more than one thing can be true. In the human realm, more than one thing can be true. How is that? So let that land, right? And it can start to soften so much of this inner war, this inner war of contradictory feelings, because I think so much of suffering comes from the contradiction. You know, the I feel like a counterfeit. Anybody's talking about imposter syndrome or being inauthentic, I have those feelings. Why? Because I'm this spiritual person. I do my morning practice. I pray. I meditate. I take care of my body temple. I'm teaching classes. I do all this good stuff. I see clients one-on-one. I support people with integrity as they move through. I do my own work with integrity. Right? There's that whole like John that you see. And then there's this other John that has all sorts of other things going on, other aspects, other qualities that might not fit the image of the spiritual person. And so if I have aspects of me that might not fit into this idea of the spiritual person, but that's also a construct, right? Well, is what a spiritual person is. Is that what a spiritual person is? I mean, I think we're all spiritual people. Here's the idea. Contradiction does not mean that I'm not spiritual. Contradiction does not mean that you're not spiritual. Contradiction doesn't mean that you're not healed enough. Contradiction doesn't mean that you're being inauthentic or that I'm being inauthentic. What if contradiction simply means that more than one part of us can be included? And this is the real piece, because I'm finding myself in this real shadow work lately where, I mean, the shadow is the paradox, right? There's the self and the not self. So can both of these be true? Yes. This is the piece. This is what's been alive for me in a very real way this week, because I've been noticing that, like, for example, a part of me wants to be more disciplined, more structured, more productive, more clear. Like I need to get stuff moving and grooving. You know what I mean? And then I'm noticing another part of me wants to be a little more gentle, wake up a little later, make a shorter list, have less things to do, stop living under so much pressure. Which one is true? Both. Am I supposed to be more disciplined? Or am I supposed to be more relaxed? Am I supposed to push or am I supposed to soften? But the deeper freedom is realizing that maybe both are true. That there's a part of me that values devotion. There's a part of me that values structure and follow through and accomplishment. And there's a part of me that's tired of turning productivity into a form of self-punishment. Anybody else feeling that way? Both are true. Both belong. And when I stop making one of them wrong, something in me relaxes. And this is also true in deeper emotional places. Someone or sometimes one truth says, I was misunderstood, and another truth says, I didn't get what I needed. And another truth says, they did the best that they could. And the other truth says, I understand. And another one says, I'm still angry. And this is where many of us get stuck. You know what I mean? Like, like I was, I was loved, but I was misunderstood. They did the best they could. I didn't get what I needed. I understand, but I'm angry. To all of these aspects, we think we have to choose. I either forgive them or I'm angry. I either feel like they did the best they could or I didn't get what I needed. I either forgive them or I tell the truth about the impact. I either trust life or I admit that it hurts. Either I'm grateful or I'm disappointed. But real freedom is not forcing. This is what's coming up for me lately. Real freedom is not forcing one truth to erase another. Real freedom is becoming spacious enough to hold more than one truth at the same time. Again, I'm talking about human truth. I'm talking about truth within us. I'm not talking about spiritual truth, one source, one power, one life. That's a different order of truth. But sometimes we can use spiritual truth against our humanity, because this is really important in spiritual spaces. We things like, everything happens for a reason. This is all for my growth. They did the best they could. There was a gift in this. And those things are all true. They're all really wonderful ways for us to understand the spiritual truth behind something. But if we use those truths to silence the part of us that's sad or angry or disappointed or hurt or confused, then we're not practicing freedom. We're practicing spiritual exile. And we are using one truth to kick another truth out of the room. So here's the invitation. Do not turn spiritual truth into a weapon against human truth. This has been so big for me today, this week, these last weeks. Let the human truth be here. Yes, this sucks. I had a client and member of the Spiritual Recalibration Circle who it was her birthday yesterday. She had travel plans. She got really sick a few days before. She's still super sick, had to cancel all of her plans. And she was like, this fucking sucks for my birthday. This sucks. And then she immediately went to, there's some good here. Let me see it. I love it. But let's honor the human truth. This sucks. I would really rather not be sick on my birthday. I really would have rather not having to cancel my plans, right? That's true. And I can see that everything's working together for good. And there's a gift here for me to see. Something wonderful is happening. Something wonderful is seeking to emerge. Both are true. And we can't, use the spiritual truth to override the human truth, right? Let there be a human truth. Let there be a spiritual truth. Let trust be here. Let anger be here. Let compassion be there. Let that part of you that needs to rest be there. Let that part of you that wants, to be more productive, let it be there. Let more than one thing be true. Now, there's another piece here that I really love. And that's that a painful belief can become a closed loop. It's a self-confirming loop. And let me see, I'd love to know if any of you all feel this way. It's like, for example, if somewhere deep inside of me, there's a belief that says I'm bad or I'm broken or what's wrong with me, right? Do you ever feel that way? Like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Why can't I fix this part of me? Why do I keep doing that thing over and over again? What's wrong with me? I mean, in essence, we're saying I'm broken. There's something wrong with me. And then everything starts to get interpreted through that belief. Okay? So like if I have a belief that I'm broken, that there's something wrong, why am I this way? And then I make a mistake, it proves it. Oh, see, you're wrong, you're bad, right? If I succeed at something, see if you guys agree with this. If I succeed at something, got lucky. That was like an accident. That was pure luck. Boy, if all those other things hadn't happened, that would have never occurred. That wasn't me. That was luck. It was an accident. And then if somebody gives me a compliment or somebody loves me, I think they must not really know me. I'm doing a really good job of pulling the wool over their eyes. But if someone criticizes me, well, now they see the real me, right? Now someone actually sees the truth of what a fucking loser I am. This is the mind takes one painful conclusion and then organizes reality around proving that conclusion. Maybe the belief is I'm behind. Maybe it's I'm not enough. Maybe it's I always mess things up. Maybe it's I'm not disciplined enough. Maybe it's I'm not lovable. Maybe it's the everybody gets it but me. And then the mind keeps collecting evidence, right, to prove that belief. But freedom begins when another truth gets to come into the room. Yes, I made a mistake, and I'm still good. Yes, I'm tired, and I'm still devoted. Yes, I'm disappointed, and I can still trust life. Yes, there are things to learn. I have things to learn, and I'm not broken. No, I didn't get what I needed, and I can begin learning how to give that to myself now. But we don't want to rush there. We don't want to rush to, oh, I can give myself what I need. Because sometimes we want to jump straight into self-responsibility because that's how we fix it. You know, all right, okay, I can see it. What do I do now? How do I fix it? How do I move forward? How do I take my power back? How do I, claim what's mine? And self-responsibility is beautiful. It is ultimately us being, claiming our power. But responsibility without acceptance becomes another form of self-abandonment. So first, self-acceptance says, all of this is here. All of this is here. Love is here. Grief is here. Understanding is here. Confusion is here. It's all here. It's all in me. It's okay. The part that wants to move forward is here. The part that wants to take a break and check out is here. It doesn't mean that contradiction doesn't mean I'm broken. It doesn't mean I'm a counterfeit. It doesn't mean that I'm an imposter. Then self-love asks, that's self-acceptance. It's all here. Okay, I can let it all be here. Then self-love asks, how can I be compassionate towards that part of me? Not just tolerate it, not just analyze it, not just spiritually explain it away, but can I actually bring tenderness to that part of me that carries all of this? And then from that ground, self-responsibility can eventually arise, not as pressure, not as bypass, not as self-correction, but as a whole response. Maybe my responsibility eventually says, what can I give myself now that I didn't receive then? Or, how can I nurture the part of me that was misunderstood? Or how can I become a loving presence that I needed? That might be the whole response, but we don't want to rush there because somehow and sometimes the most healing thing that we can say is, I don't know what to do with this. That's about where I'm at right now with all of these contradictions within me. The part that wants to be more disciplined, I just need to get up earlier, read more, do that, right? And the part that's like, I want to fuck off. I don't want to do anything more. I want to chill. I want to be at the beach. And the normal move is squash that beach part and just double down because successful people are fucking working. But right now, I don't want to crush one and collapse into the other. I want to let that contradiction stay there and be honest that I don't know what to do with it. I don't know what to do with both of these aspects of me, but both of them are true. Both of them are valid. I don't have to abandon myself because I don't know yet. I can still just be in the I don't know. So this is our talk for today. I really love this idea of more than one thing can be true. And it is the continuation of deep shadow work that allows us to accept all of us, not exile any part of us. And it's not just the guilt and the shame. It's the everyday things that we do. For me, it's around discipline. It's around focus. It's around like all the ways that I punish myself and discipline and correct myself into wholeness. But it's not. Wholeness is all of it. Wholeness is all parts of me being not just being tolerated, but having compassion for all parts of me. And right now, my honest move is I don't know how to do that, but I'm going to stop attacking those parts right now. So that's the invitation today is to allow more than one thing to be true within you and just allow it. See what happens. All right, that's Walking the Path for this week. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. I'll see you next week. Blessings. Oops.